Thomas Jefferson was a brilliant man with some serious flaws. Anyone who could write the bulk of the Declaration of Independence or engineer the Louisiana Purchase is doing some things right. On the other hand, there's problems, of course, his relationships with his slaves, especially Sally Hemings, and his editing of the Bible. But he's not alone. In the 1990s, there was a group called the Jesus Seminar that voted on the words and deeds of Jesus, basically editing out things of the Bible. Here's the twist. Sometimes we do the same thing. We have verses we skip right over, verses that we don't pay attention to, verses no one preaches on. But as we travel through the Gospel of Luke in chapter 12 and verse 33, we come to one just like that. Jesus says, "Sell what you have and give alms." Wow. Ever heard a sermon on that one? What's he saying? What's the background? Here's a hint of where he's going with it. He's going to this, that your generosity is linked to your sense of the blessing and presence of God. Your generosity is linked to your sense of the blessing and presence of God. But we have to define all those. What's he mean by generosity? What do we mean by blessing and presence of God? It's not an investment scheme. Something richer than that. To think about what Jesus is saying, here's a starting point. The Old Testament, Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 17. The one who gives to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay him in due time. Wow. The one who gives to the poor is like lending money to God, and God will repay the loan, it's saying, in essence, with interest. Or, how about the last two verses of Psalm 112? He is given freely to the poor, his righteousness endures forever. He's given freely to the poor, his righteousness endures forever. Or, Ezekiel chapter 18, especially verses 5 through 7. The righteous person provides food and clothing for the needy. You give to the poor, you're lending to the Lord, and the Lord will repay. The one who gives freely to the poor has righteousness that endures forever. The one who provides food and clothing for the needy is a righteous person in Ezekiel. Jesus is saying something to his audience that they would have well known from the scriptures. Now, the question which follows is this: who are the needy? What's to be given to them? In the book of Acts, did they do that? How does that relate to the tithe that the Lord calls to be brought to his storehouse? We don't want to be like Thomas Jefferson editing the Bible, and we certainly don't want to be like the Jesus Seminar editing the sayings of Jesus. That's why even with the verses that we may skip over, they're worth pondering. After all, we may discover treasure there that hasn't been unearthed before. This is your daily devotional for Friday. I hope you're doing well. Hope you'll pray for the church and pray for me and seek first the kingdom of God and every day ponder the word. What a blessing to have such a good and gracious God to serve. God bless you as you serve him today.